let's talk about the marathon. I'm talking about the 15-inning debacle, in a lot of ways, game between the Mariners and the Detroit Tigers in Game 5 of the ALDS. A lot. There's two kind of elements of this, right? So I want to go through the game, talk about some of the fun things that happened, because I think there's some things that happened behind the scenes. We all know how this ended. Polanco, ground ball through the right side against Canely. Kerry Carpenter, 4 hits, and their team had like 5. He hit the big homer off Gabe Spire, was the matchup they wanted. A lot of magic happening. It could have been the Kerry Carpenter game, but it ended up being the Jorge Polanco game. If you'll remember, for about the last 8 innings of this one, nothing happened. Nothing happened at all. There was a lot of approach. It was hard to watch and also easy to watch at the same time. Polanco's last hit was the 472nd pitch of the game. Like, this is the type of stuff that people talk about games are too long. Like, this was it, but this was tense the whole time, obviously. It was a roller coaster of, oh, no, we're gonna blow it. Oh, we got out of it. Oh, we got another chance of like tense relief for hours. And everyone felt it. And there's an interesting thing happening at this time where your team as a whole, there was a couple pan-ins like on everyone sitting on the fence, like zoning out because we're getting so tired. There becomes a point where you can think back 7 months ago to spring training, you're like, oof. And you're so tired and now you're like, I just need this to be over. One way or the other, this needs to be over. It reminded me of 2 boxers so tired that neither one of them can punch each other hard enough to actually get any points. Right? So like, are they just gonna call this thing and like start tomorrow at some point? Because everyone's so tired that nobody can do anything. We were heading there quickly. That's not very fun. But there's a couple highlights of things that I thought were just amazing baseball things. One, Luis Castillo and Logan Gilbert coming in unfazed. Like, they were sharp as nails, both of them. Unfazed, both on short rest, both ready to go. Or, I mean, Castillo was on a short rest, but he was throwing like in a game where he just watched for 4 hours. Like, that is really, really hard to do. You're tired from sitting there. You're stiff as hell. Last time you played catch 7 hours ago. Like, it feels like it's another day, right? That was really impressive. That's very hard to do, and everyone did it. Bizzardo was dialed in after throwing every game in the series. Like, guys were just doing things they weren't supposed to do. And the same thing was happening on the other side. Jack Flaherty found a way after he couldn't throw a strike. He's saying, hey, Dingler, I can't throw a fastball. We're going to throw only breaking balls. He just flipped breaking balls up there, and it worked. Tarek Skubal punched out 36 in 20 innings. I got to mention him. I mean, it's sad that he's not going in the playoffs. I want to see how many strikeouts he could get in the playoffs. It's crazy. He's incredible. He was incredible. He stepped up in the biggest way possible. But like, we knew he wasn't going to factor into the decision. I knew that going in. So many things happening that have never happened before. But a couple of the better things that did happen that maybe aren't even baseball related are the 14th inning stretch. This is 14 innings in the game. Look at these people. This is everyone in the stadium still standing up and stretching. There has been no food available for 6 innings. Everyone's like, should we go home? Should we go? Like, they just keep looking at each other. Should we go home? And they're like, no, we can't go home. This is our only chance. Just exhaustion. They never sat down. Quiet. The energy did start to wane. And this is maybe my favorite thing I've ever heard of. And I just heard about it yesterday. If you aren't familiar, fun thing number 2 about this game is the salmon race. And it's very similar to the president's race with the Nationals. It's very similar to any of the mascot races that anybody has at their parks. And very similarly to the president's race with I believe Teddy Roosevelt who always loses.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Editor Fact Check, presented to you by Zins.
Teddy Roosevelt.
You're watching Mayday, baby.
Someone always loses, right? They always have the one goofy, dumb one that always loses. For the Mariners, it's the salmon race. They have Humpy, the humpback salmon. Humpy never wins. Humpy went 0 for 162. And in a stroke of absolute genius, in a stroke of, I can't believe anyone thought about this. Humpy brought home his first win of the season between the 4th and 15th inning. You look at the crowd in the background here, guys. You can see the crowd up here. These guys are going crazy. So not only did Humpy win, they're like, let's have Humpy win. Let's get the crowd into it. They lit off fireworks when he won. So what's happening is the kind of crowd is starting to lose their momentum. And so they use the mascot race to wake everybody up. And guess what happened? They won the game the next inning, which arguably would not have happened without Humpy. So I salute you, Humpy. That is one of the best things I've ever heard. Additionally, on the other side, not everyone was the happiest on the planet. If you don't know who this gentleman is, he is legendary radio broadcaster Dan Dickerson for the Tigers, and he was caught he was caught on a hot mic after the crushing loss in which he felt his heart jump up into his throat and back down into his stomach over and over and over again for about 3 hours. He was told to do a game recap, and they were still live on air. I've done the radio before. Sometimes you just assume you're off air and you're not. And he said, F this game recap. Oh, I'm sorry, was that out loud? And I think he said what everyone in Detroit was feeling. Not only that, like Mariners fans were like, yeah, I don't want to hear the recap. Like, I don't want to relive this thing at all. Nobody wanted to relive it, and it was his job to do it. But that human reaction, maybe there's another time, and he didn't say he didn't disparage anybody. He just said what everyone was thinking. It turns out these people are just humans, and they just can't swear on the radio, but they probably swear in their real life. And I loved it. I loved it so much. He was so frustrated, and he's just like, man, I don't want to do this. I just want to get out of here. I just want to wash my hand of the whole situation. But still hilarious. You should go listen to it. Pretty much every Tigers fan was like, you know what? We're good with it. Leave him alone. He doesn't get reprimanded. It was amazing. This is what he said about it. He said, it was said in a moment of frustration and not a reflection about how I feel about doing the game recap. I believe him. Just how I felt doing it in the moment after a 5-hour, 15-inning season-ending loss. I'm very sorry fans had to hear it. My apologies again. Dan, just keep being you. I love that. I love that so much. And then also, John Boy employee sits for the whole game. The perfect sit. If you don't know what a perfect sit is, you sit in one chair and you look at the same thing for the length of time it takes to do something. People do it on planes. People doing 9-inning games at baseball games. This is Justin Pennick. He did the perfect sit. He didn't move from his chair for the entire 15-inning, 4-hour and 58-minute game. You got to make it fun somehow, especially when nobody is winning. Nobody's doing anything. So that kind of leads me to a little side segment that has to do with this game, because there's so many things happen. There were so many moments. Some, I think, overarching themes that I've been noticing just in the playoffs in general. And we're hearing a lot of commentary all over the place in this same kind of vein, right? There's something about the way the game of baseball is played that feels broken or hit, the way the hitting is, right? Everyone swings for the fence. We have the 3 true outcomes. By the way, the 3 true outcomes thing has slowly declined to not really be as big of a thing as most people say it is. We still use the big stats as our kind of career highlights or season highlights, but the Joey Gallos and the Adam Dunns of the world, they don't exist. They don't really, you can't hit 190 and play every day. That's not happening, right? We don't do that anymore. Let's stop with everyone's 3 outcoming, because we're not really doing that. It is still a little bit too far that way, but it's not really the focus. And that every hitting guy will tell you that is not what they're focused on anyway. And it's about how rosters are constructed and what guys can do now that needs to be changed, I think. Not necessarily as much the collective mindset. I think the mindsets are becoming more nuanced and more guys are starting to lean into more who they are, okay? So these are 4 kind of things, I think, that do not work in the playoffs that work in the regular season, okay? 4 big things. Number 1, high strikeout power hitters. The guys who are productive and they get the big hit and they use the gaps and can hit the ball over the fence, even if they're usually pretty good at generally producing and having a pretty good batting average. When it comes to crunch time in the playoffs, where juice in a ball, having that those 1 or 2 moments during a game are a lot of times the difference in that game. We see those guys disappear a lot. And I think the Yankees are really struggling with it. I think that's something that people have mentioned a lot, but we're not gonna talk about the Yankees. We'll talk about them at the end of this segment. The guys I'm thinking about, and specifically this game included, because we saw it all over the place. Gino Suarez and Riley Green were just missing 70% of the pitches they saw. They're just missing. Everyone's just missing it. We're not even making the defense do anything. It was just walks and misses. And it starts to turn into this there has to become a time where you can battle and fight off pitches and become more of a shoot it somewhere player. Here's the difference between, let's use first baseman, for example. Okay, like Torkelson, I feel like isn't necessarily a huge just pop only guy, but he is a big swing and miss guy as well. Between Josh Naylor and Spencer Torkelson, in terms of how they approach hitting, I'm going to take Josh Naylor over pretty much every other first baseman outside of Freddie Freeman in the playoffs because of the nature of he doesn't strike out, he doesn't chase, and he can he can tighten his zone when he needs to. There are certain guys who they've forgotten how to tighten their zone because it's not worth it 95% of the games for them because this is the role that they play on in a batting lineup or in a lineup. But like in the playoffs, you just see these guys disappear a lot, and not only are they not great at bats, nothing's happened. You're just out. And towards the end of that game, every time Riley came up and every time Gino came up, I was just like, this is probably going to be a strikeout or like a pop-up. And it was every single time. Like, I just didn't think that either one of them was going to try to like shoot one, right? We had Josh Naylor do this and hit a double. Like, he's willing to do that. Those two guys will never take that swing ever. And we need that sometimes. You need the ability to do it. Even if you never employ it that much, you need the ability to do it. I'm noticing there's a lot of guys who like don't know how to do that anymore. And that's what's missing. It is their approach, but it's because of what's been reinforced for what their value is and where their role is, because you are part of a team. So the power hitter, high strikeout guy does not work in the playoffs. Sometimes you hit gold. Most times you don't. Okay? Number two thing that doesn't work, high appearance relievers, guys who pitch a ton in the season and then pitch every game in the playoffs. For example, Gabe Spire. Especially guys with two pitches, four seam and a slider. And he throws a sinker too, because everyone throws two fastballs. But like when you're a fastball and then one breaking ball guy, you can get seen too much, and that just stops working very quickly. Even left on left, right on right, doesn't matter. He gave up homers to two lefties back-to-back games. Gabe Spire did, and it's because of the types of pitches he has and the way he approaches guys. He's tried to go bully guys, and you can't do that anymore towards the end of the playoffs. So it's a weird kind of trade-off between those power swing and miss guys versus a guy who's throwing the same pitch every time. Who wins that? And that's what we're getting. We're getting this like watered down version of like, we know what this is, and let's just see if one of them, which one's gonna run into, are we gonna run into the bat, or are we just gonna keep throwing the ball up and they're not gonna hit it? Like, is that the two options? And that gets very monotonous and like honestly frustrating to watch. I see it. I chase that stuff as a pitcher. Had I played till I was older, like now, if I was still playing, I would definitely be more of like a sinker, like getting ground balls and trying to play that game a little bit more. It just wasn't something I did very well when I was younger, and you got to establish yourself. So you like do the thing that makes you good, and then you got to adjust. And I'm just not seeing adjustments in playoffs, and it's frustrating. Kyle Finnegan is a great example too. He pitched every single game. He throws a splitter and a four-seam fastball. Like two-pitch guys really struggle to pitch every game in playoffs. And you need guys to pitch every game in the playoffs. It's very bullpen heavy. And we're seeing guys get beat. We talked about Hunter Gaddis on another video about how he threw so much to the regular season and then threw so much in the playoffs. Not that you get figured out, you're also tired. So you're just not executing as much either. So high-use relievers getting used every game. You get diminishing returns very quickly, and that is what we're seeing biting a lot of teams in these playoffs, and it's becoming very obvious to me. Number three, it's a big one. And this is going to be kind of our big theme, hero approach. The hero approach, all right? Now, what do I mean by the hero approach? The idea that the game can change with one swing of the bat. That the way to get to a guy like Tarek Skubal, like Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Garrett Crochet, is to go out there and just swing really hard and catch one. Just catch one on the barrel and take them deep. That's the way you beat them. That's one way, but you're fighting fire with fire at that point because they are getting you to the bigger you swing against guys like Tarek Skubal, the more he's going to strike you out. And it's just the way that it is. I saw J.P. Crawford do it a couple times. J.P. Crawford's a great hitter. He is a great hitter. Usually he doesn't get big like that, and for some reason he was. There was an AB with Cal Raleigh against Tarek Skubal after Kerry Carpenter had taken the lead with a 2-run home run. Cal came up and had a terrible at-bat. Terrible. He swung it 100 above his head, 100 up and away out of the zone, and then 100 right down the middle, got blown away. He came up and just swung it 2 pitches up, way out of the zone right away because he was pressing, because he's like, I need to tie this right now. I don't like that we're behind, so I need to tie this right now. I need to be the hero. No, you don't. And I think this is the issue we have literally with Julio for the first 3-4 months of the season. He has this hero idea, this idea that, like, first and second, I'm being paid to hit this 3-run home run. You can hit a single, man. And pass the torch. It's got to be a pass the baton, not a everyone needs to be the hero. But the problem is when you get into a playoff game where you are tied going into your half inning every time, it is very, very enticing to try to swing for the fences. And then everyone did, both sides, everyone did. And it doesn't work. The hero complex doesn't work because playoff hitting is not exclusively about aggressiveness. And I think that a lot of people think that and feel that because you have energy, you have adrenaline, your bat speeds up. You somehow like, oh, I can catch up with 100. There's been 8 home runs hit on 100-mile-an-hour plus fastballs this year in the playoffs. There's only 21 in the regular season. Like, guys are getting to high heat because they have more energy because of so much adrenaline pumping. That makes you more aggressive. The guys who can take a step back and put pressure on the other team, put pressure on them, that's the name of the game. It's about how much pressure am I putting on this game? How much pressure am I putting on their pitchers? Because I can't count on going and being 9 for 9. That's a nice byproduct, but it's something that probably won't happen because you're going to face the best pitchers on this team. So what you need to do is focus on how do I put pressure, not how do I produce the thing that I produce all season. A prime example of that is Luke's against Bryce Miller. We had aggressive home run hit in a way because George Springer should be aggressive there. That's a pitch he hits hard, and he's hit 60 leadoff homers, so he should go for that. He got it. And then Luke's had a 12-pitch at bat that turned into a walk, where the last pitch was arguably a strike, but that's neither here nor there. That is pressure. And Bryce Miller, he did exactly what he needed to do to get Bryce Miller like, oh God. But to Bryce Miller's credit, he did not give in to that. So I love this idea of thinking about it as pressure and then passing the baton off to the next guy in the lineup, because that is how you are going to win consistently. That is how you're going to keep them from feeling comfortable, because everyone's uncomfortable. It's the playoffs. Nobody's comfortable. So just lean into that. Make it work for you. And that's one thing that I saw the Blue Jays do against the Yankees. They put pressure on them, and they kept pressure on them, and then they happened to score tons of runs too. Like, that was just a byproduct of the way they did it. I think even if they hadn't hit as much as they did, they still would have ground out that win because they just had the ability to put that pressure on better than the Yankees did. The Yankees swing and miss like crazy. If someone's dialed in, Trey Savage, you're not going to touch him, you're going to get crushed, and they did. They did, okay? Then the last thing, this is like kind of maybe this is 3A, but the last thing that doesn't work in the playoffs, defense second, team makeup. And the Yankees were that, okay? It was, we need our lineup to be scary. We need a scary lineup around Aaron Judge. That's how they build their teams. That's how they've been building their teams for a while. They have their internal base system that really, really heavily weights production, which that makes you win 95 games every year. That works. It's a great way to win baseball games in the regular season. But can the switch be flipped where game to game you're able to make, do I care about that decision on a day-to-day basis based on who you're facing, what the environment is? If you're unable to do that, that's an issue. And then if it's double worse, double bad if you are prioritizing all of that over the defense, just figuring the defense out, moving guys around, whatever. And the Yankees struggled with it a little bit. Defense is so important in the playoffs, making the plays that you need to make, or at least just being clean. Not making errors, not making stupid mistakes, and being just locked in as much as you can be within the talent that's on your team. That is something, the Yankees are an easy punching bag for that stuff because they've had some glaring stuff recently, and we know how Anthony Volpe played this year.
It's Volpe time, presented by the editor, who's an avid Mets fan and very much enjoys making this.
It's not that you need to make defense first, but they need to be equal. In the playoffs, you need to have your great defensive team, or you need to be dialed in defensively, or you're just not going to go too far. And if you look at it, like, the Mariners aren't like an incredible defensive team, but their outfield makes the plays they make. Their infield's pretty good, and their catching pretty good. Brewers are a great defensive team. The Blue Jays are a great defensive team. And the Dodgers, though they have their spotty moments, they're very athletic and they're very smart and they have a lot. They make the right plays. We saw the wheel the other day. So defense is an element of all four of the teams left. Those are my four things you just simply can't have in the playoffs, but might work in the regular season. So remember, some things get you there and some things push you to the end, right? Some things get you to the playoffs, and then other types of things are usually ones that help you win in the playoffs. That's just what I've noticed, but stay tuned because I am going to be doing a rundown of the 15-inning game. I have a Trey Savage video that's very close to being ready to film. I have another one about deception. Lots of really cool production videos that have coming out soon. So pay attention for that stuff over on Trevor May Baseball.